Hello, everybody. It's take three. This Gemini energy is so chaotic, and we've got a very chaotic week ahead. And so I'm going to give you some guidance. I'm going to take you through the major aspects and stay to the end because I pulled three cards for the week that can add to the guidance. And buckle up, basically, because it is a very scattered, chaotic week, but with potential, huge potential. You know, I always like to look for the potential. So before we dive in, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, check in the description as well, because I am in a summit, which is like a few, well, 21 actually, astrologers have recorded interviews, and I'm one of the astrologers, and that begins on June the 10th, and you will find an invite to sign up for free. Each of the recordings is free for 72 hours, so you can watch them all for free if you've got the time, or you can pick and choose your favorite ones. I'm going to be talking about the Venus star point, so register for free. That's in the description. Also, a little heads up for those of you that have also found me on Substack. I am going to my daily, very detailed updates are going to move to being only for paid subscribers. And free subscribers on Substack will get a week ahead forecast all written out, with including this video. So if you want all the writing of what's going on, go and subscribe to Substack. But if you like my more detailed forecasts, please consider subscribing. Subscribing to me on Substack really helps me to grow my goals, to do more writing and give more content for very little money. So anyway, thanks. Enough about that. Let's dive in. Don't forget to stay to the end for the cards. Quite the week. So here we are, June the 1st. And now I have lost, oh no, there it is. So we actually start on June the 1st with no major aspects, but I just want to point out where we'll be at the start. As you can see, the moon moves into Aries on June the 1st, 2024. Okay, so we're starting the week with, well, it's the weekend, but anyway, the moon's moved into Aries. So that's the start of the week for a couple of days. I'm not going to go through all the lunar aspects, and I'm not going to go through all the aspects to the asteroids. They're going to be for my paid subscribers. So really not a lot going on the first day, but boy, is it building. So I do want to kind of set you off. We've just had the Mercury-Uranus conjunction that was on Trump's midheaven when the verdict came down that he was guilty. You know, we've got all this stuff building in Gemini with Jupiter settling in, moving towards the Venus star point and the new moon. We've got, yeah, that'll do to tell you where we are for a start. Okay. And let's go through the aspects. Moving on to Sunday, June the 2nd. So first big aspect on Sunday, of course, we'll feel this building, and if we don't already, is Mars isn't in, still in Aries. Mars comes up and conjuncts Eris, his sister, basically. Aries and Eris were sisters, which is Mars. They were both kind of warrior energy, but Eris really, she's said to have bathed in the blood on the battlefield, not actually killed people on the battlefield. And it was written that she gloried in the blood. I always think that Eris's MO is to reveal the horrors of what humans do. And she's an outsider. She stands for the outsiders, and she pulls down picket fences, and she's a truth teller. She reveals the truth. Well, look at this on Sunday for a start. The moon's about to hit 25 degrees as well. So all of this is happening. Mars, Eris, and the moon on Sunday, shaking things up for the outsiders, speaking some truths. And I think it could be a little bit discordant. She was not known for being the goddess of discord for no reason. So, and incidentally, Donald Trump has a lot around that 24, 25 degree mark. I'm not going to switch around and put his chart, but I do want to say his Mars is there as well. So that's a trine to his Mars. He also has, where is he? Oh, he's round the outside. Sorry about that. I couldn't locate myself for a minute. His Venus-Saturn conjunction is in Cancer, and that is squared by that. So he's very challenged by all this. So I think he is emotionally challenged and going to be causing some discord. Oh, is anybody surprised by that? So also on Sunday, Jupiter settling into Jupiter, but also raising up kind of the Gemini scattered energy. Jupiter is going to trine itself, Pluto. That's the first major aspect. So June the 2nd, later in the day, Jupiter in Gemini is going to come up and trine Pluto. That's some big ideas after, because of the shadow being revealed. This is really kind of going to dig deep into what our soul desires for the future and what we need to change and shift and create. So that's on Sunday. Then the moon moves into Taurus, and one last main aspect on Sunday is that the Mercury moving at such a speed, because remember we just had Mercury conjunct Uranus on June the 2nd, almost onto June the 3rd. Mercury moves to the very last, that anaretic liminal degree of Taurus, saying change is coming, and sextiles Neptune. That's a real, where are we going? Confusion. I'm not sure, but that's also an aspect that's saying trust and let go. Change is inevitable. Big changes are coming. We're building. I've been promising big change in a positive direction for some time, and I actually think it's happening. So on June the 3rd, the actual only main aspect is that Mercury enters Gemini at 3:36 a.m. Eastern, adding to this Gemini energy. So we now have Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and the Sun in Gemini, ready for this very Geminian week. This week is going to be so chaotic and scattered. Gemini is about the twins having to do things twice, making decisions, choices, mind going in two different directions. This is really about perceptions shifting supreme. Okay. So then on June the 4th, early in the morning, Mercury will follow Jupiter and trine Pluto. So we had Jupiter. So there's some big churning ideas and big transformation of perceptions and views and ideas going on. People are beginning to shift to see hope and possibility, but it's hardly dare believe it, right? Jupiter's belief and faith as well. So, but Mercury will trine Pluto. You can see this, it's at 2:12 a.m. the morning, and then right afterwards, Jupiter at 6:23 a.m., Mercury and Jupiter will meet at 2 degrees. Gemini. So that's a 2 as well. And Gemini is the two ways, seeing things 2 ways, 2 timelines, decisions, coming together, talking to each other. This is a big week for not knowing which way to go, which way to think, but also to start listening, speaking your truth, and also listening and being open-minded. All right. So that's on June the 4th, but later that day is a very big day for me and for those of us Venus lovers, because the Gemini Venus star point is at 11:33 a.m. at 14 Gemini. And I did do a whole presentation for it, still available for download. My Nest members get to access it for free. But look at this Gemini star point. This is starting a new 9.5-month cycle. And during that 9.5 months, by the way, I am going to be teaching about the Venus star point, how it works, how you can understand it, how it's such a simple process to find about what's going on about this invisible clock in the background and your prenatal Venus star point. I'm going to be teaching that to my Nest community over the next few months between the end of July and the December holidays. I'm not starting till the end of July because that's when Venus will appear as evening star in the evening sky. But the Gemini star point is really kind of like a full Venus, if you like, from the retrograde Venus star point that we had last August the 13th. Okay, those at 20 degrees Leo. And that one, we went into the heart because we did a lot of work in my Venus retrograde class that people love. The celebrated, kind of Venus retrograde class. We went into the cave of the heart, doing a lot of shamanic work. And now we are bringing it from the heart into the mind. And that's why I am so interested in talking about manifestation, real deep work of creating and changing your thoughts to create what you want, because it has to come from the heart and love through the mind. So here we are in that process right now. But this Venus star point is not only the lead star because that's where we have the transits of Venus across the sun, always when it's a Gemini star point. This is also, and that's because the North Node of Venus is in Gemini. The North Node of Uranus is in Gemini too, and this one is conjunct the North Node of Uranus. This is going to bring radical shifts. But this is going to unfold over the next 9.5 months. All right, and I've noticed a few things about the retrograde star point next March that this one is leading to, that's in Aries. So you'll have to kind of come and do my class when it's announced for that. But that's huge that we have the Gemini star point this week. Also, Mercury and Jupiter are still conjunct, of course. And Mercury is the guide for the sign of Gemini. So this is radical and big perception shifts, but because a lot of it's kind of information that's coming at us to sift through, is going to feel quite chaotic at first. It's very inwards because we are on the cusp of the new moon too. So on Wednesday, the 5th, the moon actually joins the party as well in Gemini. We'll go over Jupiter, then conjunct Mercury, then to head towards the sun. And then we have the new moon on the 6th. Okay, so you can see this, and Mercury again is moving at a trot as well. But look at this new moon. I did a whole podcast on that, so you can go and watch that video. but everything's coming together. And if you think about this, I talked about it in the New Moon podcast, but Mercury, Venus, Sun, and Moon are the most personal planets because we have the Sun at the core of our universe, then Mercury, then Venus, then the Earth, and the Moon around it. This is a personal upgrade. We are shifting, changing. We are changing our ideas, changing our plans, changing the details, but in so many ways. It's just such a huge week and so much mental activity going on. So after the new moon, Mercury, remember I said Mercury is running at a big trot. Oh, I don't think that's actually happening. So I will not do that. I'm going to go back to June the 6th. Anyway, no, that's all right. So I wonder why that one came in. It's all right, ignore it. So you can see that on June the 7th, early, the moon moves into their own sign of Cancer, so has gone over all of these Gemini energies, which are integrating the new moon and the new Venus star point. So starting a lunar cycle and the 9.5-month Venus cycle, half of it anyway. Everything's really kind of just all over the place, to be quite honest. So you are really going to have to ground and try hard to focus this week. And you may get a little bit of help by what I think it was Christopher Renstrom called the cosmic curfew on June the 8th, next Saturday. Venus has already trotted a whole degree ahead of the sun, but is still under the beams of the sun. Venus squares Saturn, and that's a little bit like a reality check. But Venus squares Saturn is kind of saying if it's not real and if you aren't, committed to it, that's the real point, then it ain't going to happen. This is a little bit sometimes like a big cosmic break that just goes, okay, you're all excited with all this Gemini energy. It's amazing. The possibilities are boundless. There's so much more hope, and that's great. But also kind of Saturn kind of says you may have to let go of some of those old stinking thinking, some of those old kind of limiting beliefs and so on. Just kind of, join in and go ahead, so but make sure it's grounded in reality. So this is asking you to find some clarity about which bits are not moving forward with you as you go into this cosmic curfew, into the dead zone, home by a certain time, and saying, all right, go within, check, 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 while we're under this new moon energy. What do I really want to create? Okay. Then Mercury does not square Saturn. Okay, so then right afterwards, Venus will square Nessus. And these two are not going to quite meet, all right, because Saturn's approaching Nessus. Nessus turns retrograde, but then Saturn turns retrograde. And this is us really putting a break on letting these past trauma patterns and abuse patterns stop us creating what we want in our lives. But that means they're coming to light to do that. So Venus will square Nessus that day as well. Meanwhile, Mars moves to the anaretic degree of the sign of Aries, that liminal space in their own sign, kind of saying one last push, and then Mars moves into their own sign of Taurus, which is going to be Well, it's going to slow Mars roll, but Mars is in Taurus is going to go, all right, I'm ready to really get determined and focused to really manifest what I want. It's no accident that I am drawn to read this book, Mind Magic by Doty, that I've got this little book club going for, because this is the perfect timing to actually dig in and do some real good manifestation. So I'll be talking about it in my daily blog posts in Substack for paid subscribers. I'll probably talk about it to my Nest members, some as well, but I would recommend the book whether you want to do that or not. So anyway, so we're on Sunday the 9th already, and the sun comes up and follows Venus, and the sun squares Saturn. So we have, there's the sun coming up to square Saturn, all right? And these two are getting even closer. So what we had with Venus, we're still being told, let go of the limiting beliefs that stop you creating nuance and stop you changing your thoughts to change your life, but also get real clarity on what you do want and what you're creating, and make sure that they are real, that you really, really want this by going into the heart. So heart and mind working together. And then the moon will move into the sign of Leo later that day. But Monday morning, we finish the week with the sun square to Nessus. So the sun will come up and square Nessus. You can see they're getting slightly closer. Again, they never quite reach exactness. And so, you know, all that cosmic theme of working on the limiting beliefs and the mindset that is stopping you from creating what you want, but also getting very clear on what you do and do not desire. So very powerful week in so many ways, but very chaotic. So let's go to the cards and give you a little bit of guidance around the week using the cards. So here's the 3 cards that I pulled, and really I'm not surprised at all that I get 3 reversed cards, because we're going into the dark of the moon. Venus is in her underworld journey on the other side of the sun, collecting up information to beam down to us as she emerges as evening star later. So this is all really cooking within. And also there may be some things cooking that are not yet seen and that we don't know about yet, but we'll discover that in the news later, I think. So Ace of Swords, let's start with that. Ace of Swords reversed is about the confused, unsure, and chaotic thoughts. Gemini is about decisions, but in this week, it's not a great week to make any important decisions. Towards the end of the week with Saturn, that's when we can start to get some clarity. Okay, so this is the start of the week, the ace. So this means that, you know, you may need to do a lot of work on getting clarity, on writing, you know, your goals, preparing yourself, taking baby steps, working methodically, and not making any really big decisions this week. You know, if we look at all the areas of life where the Ace of Swords is reversed, this can mean there could be some, you know, talking past each other, difficulties in communication in some of your relationships. That could show up in your work as well. You may not feel like you can yet express your thoughts clearly. And for your finance world, because Venus is very much as well related to finances, if there's anything financial that comes up, it may not be clear. So double check everything, all right? So then we move on to the Nine of Wands for the week as the week progresses. Again, we're still in the dark of the moon, and this may, really kind of indicate a lack of fire. You're not kind of feeling like you're really ready to explore and, go for it. You may feel a little bit with depressed fire, like you've lost your mojo a little bit. It could mean, that you feel a little bit trapped. Well, that's going to change, so don't worry. It's because you probably need to do some inner work like meditation, morning pages, or doing the exercises in that Mind Magic book. I'll put the link to the Mind Magic book again in the description too. And again, it's just a kind of drained energy kind of thing. Wands being fire. And that you keep trying and you're not quite getting there, but you get there. All right. End of the week, though, we have the Ten of Cups again reversed, because two new big cycles are starting. So we really need to do the inner work before the outer work with these. So this feels like a little bit of emotional disconnection, really. Okay. So, you may feel like your hopes and wishes or expectations in some emotional matters, not necessarily your primary partner, though it could be other important relationships, could be family, but it could be, like, for example, in the relationships, external forces could kind of upset emotions in a relationship, or there could be some interference from relatives, things like that. In the workplace, there could be some emotional tensions between people you work with. And over the finances, there could be a little bit of disagreement over, or a feeling of a little bit unsure footing for finances at the time. But it's going to change. Don't worry. The new cycles are beginning, and I'll speak to you more about that next week. But before I go, please don't forget to subscribe, check out the links, join the summit, check out that book, read it. Just enjoy this mental energy, but know it's a lot. And there's a lot of good things, like maybe stay off social media, do your self-care, do your walking, whatever it is you do your stream of consciousness, morning pages. There are some great extensions for blocking social media if you want, or you could delete it off your phone. It would be a real good idea to use any tools that you have to really focus on how your perceptions are changing and where you are going in this world before you actually make decisions. All right. Much love. I will see you next week.